Hey folks, come walk with me. Well, I was thinking this morning about a few months ago, I was watching a bunch of YMH episodes from like the 500s. And I was doing that because I had stopped watching over the last little while here. And I just wanted to see some of the old stuff because I just knew that I was kind of felt over it, but I wasn't exactly sure why. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I really miss the old Tom Segura. Tom, before his epic battle that he lost with the basketball court. And I think that was also relatively around the same period of time as his father died. At least sort of close enough to it that they were two pretty big, pretty life-altering events. And the contrast of watching him in the episodes of the 500s, which is several years ago at this point, but like I say, certainly before those two big life-altering events, the change, the difference is amazing. He had a distinct element of silliness and of, I don't even know if it's like self-deprecation. It's more like willingness to just be unabashedly silly and joyful and playful. And that is just distinctly lacking. I mean, maybe there's a sliver here and there, but he's so sort of like serious, and I think at times believes that he is sort of like motivational or that he is providing some sort of life advice or is being some sort of like a role model. I don't know. But he's become so obsessed seemingly with efficiency in all areas of life, from his diet to his exercise to his schedule to his touring and sort of keeping everything very sort of linear train of thought, not allowing for any of the frivolities or playfulness to creep in there. And his ability to just sort of express that is so lacking at this point. You know, I was watching even the intro when they were introing dates, and that was astoundingly different for a couple of reasons. One, he does, back in those older episodes, he was doing the playful thing that Christine, his wife, does with the cities, right? They call them really silly names that are often sort of like some sort of like sexual in nature, kind of play on the words. And he would sort of participate in that. And he would like just have this very jovial spirit about it that was like he was very authentic in his enjoyment of just being that sort of silly. And not only that, but he would often talk about shows that were like close to selling out or shows that he had been at, that whether they had sold out or not, that they were just really supportive crowds, and he appreciated everyone coming out and this, that, and the other thing. And today it's like, not only is that like silliness of announcing like the tour dates in the cities in a funny manner, you have to be efficient and pronounce it correctly, and not only is that totally different, but also, there's sort of this like very cold, very calculated feeling, obligatory, thanks for coming out, or I appreciate ticket sales, or thanks for helping sell that show out. It's like very kind of, I don't know how to say it other than it's cold and calculated feeling, where his old ones felt so sincere and that he was actually appreciative of what was happening. And I was just watching it, and even like all their silly little idioms, right? All the goofy slogans and things that they would come up with. Hey, jeans, mommy this, mommy that. Like, but any of that sort of high and tight stuff, and the Garth Brooks stuff, and all those things that were just so wildly goofy and silly. And he would just, like I said, the authenticity of his reactions and his enjoyment of what was happening was so real and palpable. And I guess at the time I didn't realize that was such a big part of what I enjoyed about that show. And now that it's gone and he's so different and he's so like Mr. Optimized and just seemingly taking much less joy in everything. And I guess trying to replace that with, I don't know, ballooning his bank account and buying bigger houses and cars and watches and stuff. I don't know if that's the replacement, but I will say him having that accident and, I think his father dying, I think had a tremendous impact that maybe he didn't really process well, didn't really allow himself time to get through it in a way that left him feeling some semblance of that joy that he had before. Because as far as I can tell, it looks really absent. And it's really unfortunate for the people who enjoyed that so much. Just enjoyed seeing an adult man like being so unabashedly goofy and just having such a spectacularly joyous time being playful. Oh boy, we got a tractor coming. And the same thing, is certainly the case with Two Bears. I think I hung on to Two Bears a little longer than YMH, but not by much. And it's largely because of the same thing. I mean, you look at like the Tom that did the dance video, right? The dance video was so freaking good. I mean, that was an amazing way to use like industry connections, money, talent, like ability to get top-notch talents. I mean, he used that in a spectacular way as far as that video is concerned. And, or that whole scheme is concerned. And, I think about even the like Jennifer Aniston bit. It wasn't to me as funny, but it was pretty silly and funny, as was the Kool-Aid one, maybe my favorite. I don't know, the dance and the Kool-Aid one, pretty close in my mind. But like that just like spit your drink out kind of like, we're just gonna make each other just die laughing because we're actually doing like goofy things that seem relatively authentic. I don't know how planned or how genuine some or all of those things are. They certainly seem pretty authentic. But even if they're not, just the the comedy of it, right? Even if they developed it, it was a funny thing to develop. And whatever happened to them that made them turn that corner from that sort of like being seemingly honestly appreciative of the success that they were having, and while maintaining that sense of I'm grounded in the joke, I'm grounded in the joy in the experience of it all. I mean, that seems so lost at this point. And it's hard to think at this juncture and also potentially thinking of the things that maybe got them there. It's hard to think if they can really get that back, right? It's hard once you lose something that was grounding in your authenticity and you fundamentally change because of whatever it is, tragic events in life, hardships that made you, I don't know, did something to your brain chemistry, something to your thought pattern that just disrupted that element of sheer joy and appreciation. I don't know that you get it back, especially if you're in your mid 40s or 50s. So we'll see, but this isn't meant to be like one of those, like comedy drama channel videos or whatever it is, skewer the comedian videos. It's not meant to be that. It's literally I saw old videos and I was like, oh, I miss this version of this person so much, and they were this way for so long and then they changed, and it's a really unfortunate change. And sure, you can say people grow over time, they change, but to me, again, it's just my opinion, he can feel however he feels about his change. As a fan, as a viewer, it's not a positive change. It's not a positive growth. It's a really unfortunate loss of a grown man being goofy and silly and authentic and really genuinely joyous. And to the extent to which he feels that loss of that and the coldness of the current environment in which he finds himself in, I feel bad for that. It's gotta suck, whether you want to admit it or not. And again, whether you want to buy a bunch of stuff and live a certain type of lifestyle to try to make up for that loss, right? You're trying to fix that loss in a way that's it's just sort of like very materialistic, or it's what you have at your disposal at the time. But it certainly isn't, sort of seemingly coming from a place of meaning or deep reflection. So that's all for this one. Sad to see him go. Wish him the best and thank them for the many, many years of true joy and silliness. All right, folks, I'll see you in the next video.